And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon and welcome to the market recap. Still Groundhog Day, February the 2nd. Apparently we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter and it sure looks like it around here. I think we're up to about a foot of snow around my house. I'm not going anywhere for a while, so I'm not worried about it. But you got to be out there, really try and be careful if you're, in the path of this storm, of course. If you aren't fit to shovel heavy snow, try not to do so. I'm lucky I have a 22-year-old strapping young man who cleared the driveway with a little help from the neighbors. And we're going to see if we can't get through this storm and move along. It's good to see everybody, as always. Thanks for joining me. My name's John. Thanks for trusting me with your time this afternoon. Interesting day in trading, of course. Kind of looking at what happened today. Crude oil, just no real change in value after the EIA posted a bit of a miss. I think they were looking for a boost of 1.5 million barrels, came back closer to what the API came back with last night, with just over a million barrel draw in crude. Didn't do much to price. Starting to get a little bit concerned for upside continuation in crude oil. We're going to need some participation if we're going to keep price moving higher, which I don't really want, right? Don't really want higher prices in crude oil. The E-mini S&P and the NASDAQ, the Dow, ended the day higher, of course. You're going to have to see if we ended up putting a late spike in the S&P. That would be the 4th day in a row. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. That's going to be kind of unusual. But it did close above the weekly kickoff high, where the NASDAQ never took out that overnight high, which was exactly 10 points below the weekly kickoff high. Base of the spike, however, did provide a good upside opportunity for us in the NASDAQ. We're going to see that in the charts shortly here. Gold, the Danel, our word for the channel that the crude oil is currently in, kind of looking like a bear flag, but the bottom end of that channel that we were looking at in the market forecast this morning really ended up being the best trade location of the day. We said there was fish there, and there were certainly some fish there. We got to accept outside the channel before going the opposite direction. So the fish, they were there. We were right there. We were just fishing right over them. I'm hoping somebody caught that. Euro, no gap fill, but no big moves either. The 10-year looks like a bit of a yawn on the daily chart. It's an inside extended trading hour range. Had a couple of early moves, but once those were done, that was pretty much the opportunity. If you were down money in the 10-year this morning, you were going to have a hard time making that back. Natural gas, who break out above weekly kickoff high, brings in some considerable volume. You'll see tomorrow morning what the open interest looks like. If we have an increase in open interest, this could be the beginning, or maybe sort of a continuation or an acceleration of a market state to the upside. It wouldn't surprise me. It's cold out there. Make sure, as usual, you like, share, comment, question, feedback, and heckle. Always enjoy a good heckling. Good morning, or good afternoon, I should say. I'm so used to talking on the market forecast. My friend Vince, it's good to see you, my guy. Brian Spencer. It was a nice trade off the prior day settlement in the ES today. Kind of bummed I only took the trade in my practice account and not in my trading combine, but still good stuff. Good. Glad there's a lot to learn in a purposeful or deliberate practice the way you are there, Spencer. Good afternoon, Norman. PD was profitable today after almost blowing the account yesterday, but still have way too many trades. PD, that could be a function of the choice of the charts that you're looking at. Short time frame charts tend to make me overtrade. George, good to see you. JC and anyone else have crazy issues with lag on TST? Email TopStep, but per usual, we'll escalate this to level 2, but not much we can do. Well, I have not seen that personally. I do have Trade-Evade or TS Trader. I haven't seen that. I know that there are a couple of other traders who've been experiencing trouble with that. Make sure that your internet connection is good. Hardwire your internet connection. Sometimes the computer can lag a little bit because when there's periods of volatility or the opens or the closes, there's so much information that comes into your computers that sometimes it creates a lag. I don't know, exactly what you're trading on, but it's something to consider. Danny, hello. David Keene, good vibes to you as well, Spencer. Make more than 2 trades and immediately switch to sim. Interesting idea, right? Charles, Bron. Please, same brother. I don't know what that means, but good afternoon to you. PD Legend. Spencer, I wish I could be that way. I'm just a real madman hitting buttons, and I can't seem to break the habit. I just want to get out of this mad scalp mode, but haven't been able to. Again, PD, think about the time frame charts that are leading you to some of these secondary and less realistic opportunities. Make the plan to go around that. Had the same problem. Very good. Auto. Spy dumping. We know we've got the Facebook just out. Beats on revenue, but misses on earnings per share. It's now, of course, called Meta Platforms, but the ticker is still FB. Aftermarket action just going to paint all the way back down the profile just for good measure. Yeah, right. Dr. VJ, good to see you. Auto, one big red candle. Yeah, saw no lag today on my trading, Charles. I didn't either. Yeah, maybe turn it off, log on, log back in, log back on, turn off your computer, restart your computer. Sometimes that might help. I know it's a pain when it happens because you don't really have time to do that. Luck, thank you for joining today. Tomorrow's it for Top Step Foundation. Again, it is my hope and all of our hope here at Top Step that you're able to take something off of away from those sessions to help you in your success in trading. Logged off, logged back on, hardwired in. Doesn't happen to Trade-Evade, only a TST. Huh. Because they're the same data feed. Strange. Let's see what our support team is able to help you with on that. Hopefully they'll be able to come to some sort of resolution for you, of course. PD, gotta run. Have a good night. See you in the AM. Rest up, PD. And slow down. Easier said than done, I understand. So let's jump into the charts and see what we're seeing here. Always fascinating. I can't wait to see what's going on in the equities after Facebook. All right, so here's the crude oil. We knew that we had the EIA. It came out a little over 2 million lower than they were expecting as far as inventory is concerned. Volume and open interest we've been talking about has begun to waffle. Today we're going to see what open interest does. A little bit higher volume, but that's going to be somewhat typical. on an EIA day. This morning we started the day with an inside extended trading hour range. That has changed, of course. Take a look at the 30. So here's where we started. Okay, EIA came out at 9:30. No real great shakes on that. Take a look at value. Value high, value low. Value high, value low. Value high, value low. Value low, value high. Value low, value high, value low. We haven't moved. The perception of value for the last 6-7 sessions remains the same. Sounds like a Zeppelin song. The song remains the same. But that's where we are. The upside has been suffering. We've been talking about it. We've been noticing volume, open interest. Open interest at the beginning of the year. We had a whole bunch of open interest coming in a directional move right after the beginning of the year. Here's the beginning of the year. This was all open interest coming in. Now it's just kind of waffling here. It's looking for direction. The auction to the upside acts tired. Without a new participant, we may just consolidate here for a while. We may come back off a little bit. It's going to be interesting to watch. It's the thing about these markets. It's just, there's so much to learn, so much to see. No, Jason, I don't think that you're bringing bad vibes. It is frustrating. The electronic trading isn't perfect. We would think it could be in this day and age, but still. So, wow. Well, we certainly came off those highs, didn't we? Oh, man. Volume was continuing to start to cut off. We never did see open interest coming in on this move to the upside. That's been of concern. I'm sure that this move has a lot to do with Facebook. 30-minute chart. Pow. Wow. Well, no late spike today, ladies and gentlemen. Got a little bit of a smack in the head after that close. What's it look like on the NASDAQ? This should be good. So we went from closing higher, relatively higher, to and we probably did close higher, but this after the close move here, wow, somebody said it was a big red candle, and boy, you're not kidding. But this is going to be after settlement. Settlement's going to probably be somewhere up here around, let's call it 115 approximately. Here's where we open. We open with a gap. We closed the gap relatively early. Where we found support was the base of the late spike. We opened above the late spike, closed the gap, traded to the base of the late spike, found buyers. Well, those buyers are running for the hills right now. That's not good. And again, we've been watching. The open interest and volume has not been conducive of a healthy upside auction in our equities. Maybe this is just the straw that's going to break the camel's back here. Gold. Where were we talking this morning? This is the daily. We've got a potential bear flag. We've come off these highs out of this channel. New channel. Bear flag looking. This morning we were right here at 8 o'clock this morning talking about the fact that there's fish here. Is it lower or is it higher? This ended up actually creating probably the best trade location of the day. Now let's see here. Opened at 1801.70, low 01 even, 7 ticks from where this bar opened to where it traded to. This one traded back to exactly the same spot. Not necessarily a strong low here, but enough where we did not accept below this line, acceptance or rejection below that line brought a pretty decent upside move. Pretty decent. What's decent? Well, look at where it stopped. We have this gap here from last week. There's where the market stopped, right at the beginning of that gap. Oh, these markets are so visual, so visual. If we could only see it ahead of time. Euro. Okay, we came off that low. We got a V bottom. We did add some open interest off yesterday's session. Volume wasn't great. We get the market attempting to continue to move to the upside again, even on lower volume. We know that this is going to be a sticky area for us to get into and get stuck in. I feel like the market's stuck in the muck. No gap close. Unable to close the gap, but no real opportunity either. When you look at this market, the market opens, drives lower, is unable to close the gap. We put in a low, comes back to point of control, and just dies here. No redemption if you're down money in this market once we got past about 11 o'clock, 11:30. Taking a look at the 10-year now. Inside extended trading hour range, we saw that coming in. We've had a pretty decent increase in open interest over the last couple of sessions, but volume not particularly gratifying. And we're centrally located between weekly kickoff high and low, last week's high and low. What are we doing here? Here's the 30-minute chart. Oh, that's not the 30-minute chart. This is the 30-minute chart we're talking about. So the market opens in range and value, tests down to low of value, finds buyers, continues to try and push to the upside, but again, inside extended trading hours, just kind of falls back in towards the center, halfway back. Nothing tremendous. And again, this is another one of those markets that if you ended up down money early in the session, there was very little chance for redemption. Natural gas. Pow. Look at the volume. Look at the volume. Remember we had this 2-day bull flag here? Well, I'm saying that bull flag and weekly kickoff high incited some new business. We're going to have to see, wait and see tomorrow morning if we did add a bunch of open interest. I'm thinking there's a pretty good probability of that. So the market was pretty good on the way up. It was rollover related, low volume on the contrary moves, bull flag here, breaking out above the bull flag in the overnight, continuing the market moving higher. Let's take a look at this on the 30-minute chart. This nat gas is quite the fascinating market. Here's that 30. Right, went to the wrong spot there. So here's our breakout of our bull flag. It happened in the overnight, of course. They don't give us an opportunity to participate in that. Why would they do that? The market opens with a gap. No effort to close the gap. The market continues to try and push higher on big volume, big markets. You have to see if we added open interest. I doubt very much that this is a situation where all the longs from the lows over here are finally getting out. I doubt it. I think we're going to see some new business in the natural gas, and I'm not happy about price moving higher in the natural gas. It's just a fact. If we were able to take advantage of the price movement, that might help us pay for some heat. Yeesh. All right. So didn't really step into any of the news this afternoon. A couple of interesting things. CNN boss Jeff Zucker resigned. Something about a relationship with an ex-Andrew Cuomo aide. A couple of more musicians are pulling their music off of Spotify. Lots of talk about the unemployment tomorrow. On Friday. There's a lot of speculation that this is not going to be a good number, and we got a hint of that today when the ADP number came out way lower than expected. What was that? I've got it right here. They were looking for an additional 207,000 jobs added, lost 301,000. If that's an indication of how unemployment's going to go on Friday, it's going to be another interesting end to the week. On this day in history, I find this kind of interesting. 1887 was the first Groundhog Day in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Same spot they've been doing it forever. The groundhog comes out of its hole and sees its shadow and gets scared, runs back into its burrow. It's predicting 6 more weeks of winter. The basis of Groundhog Day goes back to an ancient Christian tradition of Candlemas. Clergy would bless and distribute candles needed for winter. The candles represented how long and cold the winter would be. The groundhog, which is also called a woodchuck, typically about 12 to 15 pounds. They live 6 to 8 years. They eat fruits and vegetables. When they're frightened or looking for a mate, they whistle. Sometimes they're called whistle pigs. Interesting. Anything else? Cool here? We try and keep this positive. Sometimes it's difficult to do that. If you remember, actor Philip Seymour Hoffman passed away at age 46 in 2014. Way too young. 1876, the National League of Baseball is founded. The American League wasn't founded until 1901 and 1903 when the first World Series was held. 1882, James Joyce, the author, was born in Dublin, Ireland. 1979, Sid Vicious dies of a drug overdose. It's, like I say, it's kind of hard to sometimes keep these positive. As far as music is concerned, 1962 on this date, the Beatles played their first professionally organized gig. 1962. The Mop Top. Any of you Carpenters fans, and I'm a fan. I would have admitted that in my rock and roll youth. But they started a 4-week run at number 1 on the UK album chart with The Singles 1969 to 73, including the number 1 hit Top of the World. Huh. 1993, Willie Nelson agreed to pay $9 million of the $16.7 million he owed the Internal Revenue Service. I guess his accountants had not been paying his taxes for years. But I think he's doing okay now. No real notable birthdays. Nobody that really sticks out to me. I mean, 1977, Shakira was born today. Yeah, that's about it. Looking at tomorrow, as far as economic releases, we got more employment information before the employment number on Friday. Jobless claims tomorrow, as always on Thursday. That should be another interesting one. Productivity and cost, PMI composite final, Factory orders and ISM services index, nat gas, all of those due out tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be Thursday, the last day of the foundations classes. I'm looking forward to seeing the last of the classes put into recording. The recordings of all of them are available to you on our YouTube channel, of course. And then we go on and start creating more deeper, more complicated content for you. Norman, do you think nat gas prices are high because of what's going on in Europe, plus the winter weather? I'm sure it all has a factor in it, and I think, you know, the problems in Europe with natural gas started a while back, and I think a lot of folks were really surprised that the move hasn't happened earlier. As a matter of fact, we went the opposite direction a couple of months ago when, you know, people were talking about how expensive it's going to get, and it didn't get that expensive here in the U.S., but in Europe it certainly did. So, right. Kyle, what's the percentage needed for a limit down in the futures? Well, yeah. Overnight, it's 5%. Regular trading hours, it's 7%. But they do expand those. If we do lock down the limit for 5 minutes, they expand the limits. At Top Step, we do want you to be 2% away from those. So anytime the market is down about 5%, you're going to want to get out. The reason being, if we lock limit down, you can still trade, but if you're stuck long, you're probably not going to be able to get out. That's the problem. You're going to be in a pile of cells that can't take the market any lower. You're just going to get stuck behind all those cells. If the market closes and reopens with an expanded limit, you're at risk for that entire price range from where the limit down was to where the market opens. So it's a dangerous thing. Luckily, we don't have to worry about it that often. The last time this happened was COVID. And that was a unique situation. So, all right. I have been yammering all day long. Appreciate everybody spending some time with Old Hogue here. Tomorrow morning, 7:45 for the market recap. We're going to be interested to see how our open interest changed in the nat gas and the equities primarily. It's going to be another interesting trading day. So get some good rest. Be good to yourselves. Be good to others. Do something nice for yourself. We work hard at this. We deserve it. Have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:45 for the market forecast. Blessings to you all.